What is up guys, Newlimits here, and today I am bringing you a Torment 6 survival leveling guide for the Necromancer. I've noticed a lot of people have been giving me feedback on the difficulty level of the leveling guides that I put out, so I wanted to make this video to help you guys out with some survival and toughness tips. If you are new here and you haven't seen my leveling guides yet, you can find them on my channel. I will talk about skills and passives, and then I will walk you through some gameplay and give you guys some tips. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, it helps me out a ton, and subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, so for the passives, Life from Death is a really good passive if you are using Devour. So this is basically only with the Bloodtide blade that you will be using this, but it is incredibly useful and you really should be using that. Standalone, increase armor by 100%. We do not have any minions around us, so we are enjoying the full 100%. Rigor Mortis, poison abilities also slow enemies by 30% and reduce their attack speed by 30%. This works really well in combination with Decrepify. We're gonna talk about that in just a little bit. But we use, in every single leveling build that we play with, we use a poison skill. So this is very interesting, you can use this for pretty much every single build. This is just really nice. And Final Service, that's a Sheet Death. I generally don't pick that one up, but it's definitely an option if you want to, you know, have an extra safety. So that's definitely possible. I generally also go for Overwhelming Essence because I really like that, just because you can throw just a little bit more resources out. For the skills, you got Decrepify, Enfeeblement. So Decrepify, crippling curse that reduces the enemy unit's movement speed by 75% and reduce damage of affected enemies by 30%. This is really nice for the damage mitigation. Increase the potency of the movement speed reduction to 100% and decaying to a normal potency over 5 seconds. So this is really nice because 100% basically means that they can't move. And they're gonna move incredibly slowly, you know, over 5 seconds. But even then, 75% movement reduction is actually really nice. You could also opt in for Wither, damage reduction increased to 40%. But then you won't have the movement speed anymore. The slow, and I would just go for Enfeeblement, to be honest. Got Bone Armor. With the Bone Armor, I would only go for Dislocation. So what Bone Armor does, rip bones from enemies, dealing 125% weapon damage as physical, and create armor that reduces damage taken by 3% enemies hit up to a maximum of 10 enemies. So basically you're getting another 30% damage reduction. If you pair that with Dislocation, enemies hit are also stunned for 2 seconds. Those 2 seconds are very valuable for you. I'll show you in the gameplay. But that stun can help you survive a lot of times. So this is just by far the best one to go for. You will also use Blood Rush on your bar. I would generally just go for increase your armor by 100% for 2 seconds. So you're just gonna dash away and you're gonna get 100% armor for 2 seconds. The cooldown is really short, it's only 5 seconds. So as you can see, we're already stacking up quite a lot of damage reduction, a lot of armor with the stand alone rune as well, and then the Blood Rush potency, so that's really nice. Then Bone Spike, sudden impact, occasionally stuns enemies, so that stun is just a little bit of extra safety for you. Because if they are stunned, they can't attack you, of course. Yeah, you're gonna use generally Bone Spear or Death Nova, but that's not really gonna help you much. We are going with the Blighted Marrow. Damage is increased for each enemy it passes through. It is a poison skill, so that poison skill will trigger Rigor Mortis, which will also give us a little bit of more damage mitigation. What you could also do is go for the Command Golem. Now, I generally don't really like the Command Golem because on T6 they die very often. But you could go with this to gain some extra corpses. You can go for Flesh Golem for more corpses, so you can start your attacks a little bit faster with your Corpse Explosion if that is what you are using. You could also go for Bone Golem, which is gonna drag enemies to a certain location. So if you use it to drag enemies away from you, that's also a form of damage mitigation. Or you can go for Blood Golem. It sacrifices it for 25% of your health. You can pair that with, hope I can find it right away, there are pants for that you can get at level 23. Now golem skin, the cooldown on command golem is reduced by 25 seconds and you take 30% less damage while your golem is alive. Now this is decent, but your golem is dead quite often, so you don't always get 30% less damage taken. So that is kind of okay, but you can roll this at Kadala at level 23 if you would like to do that, if you have some blood shards left. And then of course devour. If you are using the Bloodtide blade, I have some gameplay for that one as well. Can use Satiated, increases maximum life for each corpse devoured. Or you can use cannibalize, each corpse consumed also restores health. So those are really nice for some extra tankiness. Alright guys, so now you know the skills and the passives. I'm gonna run you through the gameplay and I'm gonna show you guys how you can survive at Torment 6. Alright, so we're gonna be using the Maltorius Petrified Spike. I'm just gonna show you guys really quickly what skills I was using when I did the gameplay. I chose to start on level 32 to show you guys because that is pretty much the hardest part once you get close to the level requirement level on your level 70 weapon. That's why I'm showing you this. So we're gonna get from 32 to about 46 I believe, and then we're also gonna do a run with the Bloodtide blade. Showing you guys how those work, because the Bloodtide blade might actually be the strongest weapon, but you also go kind of close to the enemies, so surviving is actually a little bit harder with the Bloodtide blade, so that's why I wanted to include that one as well. So what you want to do for sure is use attack move. I have a video on it. As you could have seen, they throw a lot of fireballs at you, and if you just constantly move around and only stop to attack and then instantly move back, the projectiles are actually rather slow and you can easily dodge them if you just keep on moving forward. So that is the first tip. Don't stand still. The only time you stand still is when you are actually attacking or giving a certain command, like an auto attack or a skill that you're using, or dislocation or a curse. So what you also want to do is you want to spawn enemies around you as much as you can. You want to group them up and you want to deal as much damage as you can. So that is why sometimes I'm actually not really attacking. I'm trying to get them all together, or at least behind each other, because the bone spear deals more damage the more enemies it passes through. So you want to create a sort of a train or a density of enemies to actually try and kill them as fast as you can. Sometimes being more offensive can be the best defense that you can actually get. Why is that? Because obviously if you have a very small tiny group, you're not gonna deal a lot of damage. They're gonna have more time to get close to you, you can get cornered, and you can die very easily. So you want to just skip small groups pretty much every single time. You just want to group as much enemies together as you possibly can, and you just want to use every skill to the maximum effectiveness that you can give it. So basically with a Bone Spear or with the Death Nova, you just want to hit as many enemies as you can to make your hit be as effective as it possibly can be. So make sure every time if you throw out a skill, it counts. It has the maximum effectiveness that you can possibly give it. That is something that you really want to look out for. What you also want to do is always think ahead. Always make sure that you have a spot to go to if you get cornered. So always think about it like, okay, I'm grouping a lot of enemies together here. What am I gonna do if I don't manage to kill them in time? I can't create my corpses. I can't blow them up. Where am I going? You have Blood Rush, so you generally should always have a way to escape. And you're gonna use that escape, the Blood Rush to escape if you get a really sticky situation, if you get cornered. So that's something you always have to keep in mind when you are moving forward. That's why also sometimes you want to clear a certain rune before you continue. So if something happens and you have to backtrack, that you can just walk back and you have a safe zone. Like what I created right here. If I move forward, I know I can walk backwards because I killed everything. So I know I have a safe zone here that I can just go back to. And here I die, and that is actually my next tip. If you see an elite, and I didn't really see him because he was behind the corner, if you see an elite, just skip them. pretty much every single time. Maybe if you have a lot of density around the elite, but generally you just always want to skip him because they just do way too much damage. They give you very little EXP too, so it's really not necessary to kill him anyways. Just skip them, just move forward, and just don't even focus them at all. Sometimes they can spawn at your cursed chest event. That is really annoying. What you then want to do is, or you start the cursed chest and you're gonna use your density to kill the elite really fast, or you're gonna try to kill the elite first before you actually start the cursed chest, because you might die during the cursed chest and that would be actually very annoying. As you can see here with the merchants, we are focusing mainly on toughness. The Necromancer has some really nice multipliers on their weapons. Relina's Shadowhook is maybe a little bit less, but you have the gloves, so your multiplier is still pretty high. So you definitely want to focus purely on toughness. Don't go overboard in the toughness because of course you still need some type of damage. So don't just think like, okay, I'm just gonna take full toughness and just absolutely no damage. That is wrong too, of course. You want some damage. But definitely mainly focus on the toughness that you can just survive. So that is what you are seeing right here. I'm just really focusing on the toughness. I actually see that I don't even have a ring equipped, but I think I picked that one up right now. So definitely always do that. If you cleared it, just go back, go to the merchant. Definitely if you died, let's say you were level 32 and you go to level 40, once you've died, just go back to town. Make sure to go to the merchants, level up your gear again so that you are that your gear is the level that you are or close to it. So you are ready to go again. You will be a lot more tanky. You can just restart the game, go Torment 6 and just, you know, go blasting again. It's also a really nice tip that you can do if you have a lot of density. You know that you have two-handed axes when you are leveling. Now unfortunately, two-handed axes, they attack incredibly slow. So what you want to do, when you're throwing down curses, sometimes you actually don't have the time to throw down the curses because the enemies are too fast around you. What you can do about that is you can use your dislocation first. So your bone armor dislocation, you stun enemies around you. You can then put your curse, Decrepify, on them very safely because they are stunned, so they can't move. You can then put your Decrepify on them, they move incredibly slowly. You can then just walk a little bit backwards and you can start throwing your Bone Spear or your Blood Nova on them. It's a very safe way, it always works pretty much, so you just basically go in, you Bone Armor, you stun them, you put your curse on them, you move backwards or you Blood Rush backwards, you gain armor from that, and then you can just throw a Bone Spear, use your corpse explosions and just blow them up. That's basically the combination that you would want to do. Really important, as you can see here, during the cursed chest event, what you definitely want to do is first of all walk around the room, make everything spawn so you can have the most corpses that you can possibly have. And what you then want to do is you want to start the cursed chest, and you have those guys, not the insects but the other guys, and they throw fireballs consistently. If you just stand still there, you will die. It's basically as simple as that, you will die. So what you want to do is you want to, and I use force move on my mouse scroll, so I think that's very helpful, but you constantly want to use your skill, so basically corpse explosion or death nova, and move forward. Use your skill again, your damage skill, and move. Use your damage skill and move. You can check it back if you want to, but also in the next clip that I'm gonna show you with the Death Nova, I also do it with the Cursed Chest event. So just definitely look out for that one. You definitely want to hit your skill, move forward. Hit your skill, move forward. That was basically the first tip that I give you. Only stand still if you are attacking. So basically that's also with the Cursed Chest event. You only want to be stopping to attack. That's the only time you're actually not moving. So that's with the Cursed Chest event, just the same. Now those guys are incredibly strong. The ones that like pop up, they shoot white balls at you, and those 4 white balls, they deal an incredible amount of damage. They're gonna one-shot you pretty much every single time. So you really have to be careful for that one. Try to just create as much corpses as you possibly can around them. That way you can just, you know, explode them with your corpse explosion. He's gonna die pretty fast. It's not like an elite or anything, but he does have a lot of damage, and without a lot of toughness, I mean health. And without the corpses around him, you're not really gonna be able to kill him. So try to dodge the projectiles that he throws out. Not exactly sure what the name is of the big guy. I'm sorry about that, I don't really know. Maybe someone can leave it in the comments, I have no idea. But yeah, this one, I don't know if it looks easy. It might does look easy, but this is level 46. Sometimes you already have your level 70 level requirement level here. I feel like this is one of the hardest parts in the leveling process. So when you almost have your level 2-handed axe or your level requirement, whatever you used, axe or a mace, this is the hardest part by far. And then maybe like level 65 to 70, that's also a really hard part. But this may look easy, but it's really not. Every hit that comes in right now is gonna be a one-shot, or it's gonna be incredibly close. So yeah, you definitely just want to make sure that you keep on moving, keep on backtracking. As you can see, my damage is actually falling off a little bit here too. But it's still just going. Just make sure that you keep your spacing, control it, don't ever go into melee range. You really want to make sure. Those are the projectiles that I was talking about, by the way. The 4 balls. If they hit you about 2 or 3 and you're dead. So this is what I mean, just try to get the corpses around him. Generally, when he spawns, they're always like the little insects that spawn alongside with him. So you can then just use those to kill him really nicely. So after this room, we're gonna go to the Death Nova, so the Bloodtide blade. It's not a lot different, but I do think it's really interesting to show you 2 different builds. And also, just the little nuances that are a little bit different. But yeah, Necromancer is so amazing though. In the leveling process, it's just crazy. Alright, so now we're skipping to the Bloodtide blade. Death Nova deals 400% increased damage for every enemy that you hit. Not an awful lot changes, we just use Devour instead of Corpse Explosion, and we're using Death Nova and Life from Death, because Life from Death together with Devour is actually incredibly useful. We're using the Numlock trick for our Devour. So if you don't know what that is, I also made a video about that one. You just want to create as much density as you possibly can. As you can see, health globes are already popping out, so that passive is actually incredibly useful. Definitely also in group play, you definitely want at least 1 or 2 Necromancers to take that rune together with Devour. I mean that passive together with Devour. So you see the guy spawning again. I just basically skip him because he's way too strong. I walk around the room, try to create as much density as I can. I pop them. As we said before, sometimes offense is the best defense, so that is definitely what is happening here too. The more enemies there are, the more damage I deal, and the less damage they can actually deal to me. May sound a little bit weird, but that's actually what is happening here. If there are less enemies, I'm actually more likely to die than when there are more enemies around me. What you can do here is always, you can use your Blood Rush here to gain more armor. As you can see here, I am kind of stutter stepping. I'm moving forward, using my Death Nova, moving forward, and I'm trying to actually dodge the fireballs that are thrown at me. Of course, when you're using Bloodtide Blade together with Death Nova, you get a little bit more health and a little bit more toughness, so that is really nice. But yeah, you just constantly want to be on the move. Now what I did here is I put Decrepify on the bar here. Now normally what I would do is I would play with the Aura of Frailty when I get the Bloodtide Blade. And I would also use Eternal Torment, the passive, and Spreading Malediction for just a crazy amount of damage. And I think that is actually better for this one. but because this is a survival guide and you want to survive, what you obviously could do is, like I said before, use your dislocation like I did there. Use your dislocation, they get stunned. You use your Decrepify curse, they're gonna deal a lot less damage to you, they're gonna move very slowly. You can then just put yourself in a safe position and blow your skill. So I do believe if you do all these steps, it's really not that hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't think it's all that hard if you just try to do all the tips that I tell you. So they are gonna be in the description, so I'm gonna leave a few tips in there. A very easy way to train this, if you want to practice, is you just level up a Gem of Ease. You just get a Necromancer. So you just start a Necromancer, you go to level 30 or 32. It's really easy. I always go to Halls of Agony 3 and I just kill a few enemies. You're gonna be level 30 or 32 instantly. You're just gonna create the build that we have right here. You're gonna put Bloodtide Blade or Maltorius Petrified Spike or Relina Shadow Hook or Nair's Black Death, whatever you want to practice, in the cube. You just buy from the merchants. It's really not expensive or resource heavy, and you just practice. And you just practice these runs over and over again until you are comfortable with how it plays out. So as you can see here, I'm not attacking immediately because you really want your skills to be meaningful and impactful. So what I do here is I just wait around until everything comes really nicely together. I use my curses, I use my dislocation, and then I go in with my Death Nova. So that is basically how you would want to play it. I really hope this is very helpful for you guys. I was thinking about what I was going to say in this survival guide, so I really just hope that focusing a little bit more on this is helping you to survive. Just focus on the toughness at the merchants. I'm gonna leave everything in the description that I know for tips that I could come up with. I just really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, it really does help me out. And I just want to thank you guys so much for this past month. It has been absolutely amazing. And yeah, I just really hope this was helpful and that you're gonna be able to level really quickly in Season 22. And I will see you guys in the next one.